Samsung Galaxy S9 Review 0 Editor's Rating, 9/10 Pros Galaxy S8's excellent, design gets even better screen, performance and battery all solid camera capable, of impressive low light performance prices competitive cons intelligent scan trades security, for convenience super slow-mo is 720p only and needs bright lighting Bixby, still feels gimmicky the Samsung Galaxy S9 forces us to question upgrades, for their own sake. On the one hand, there's our desire as consumers to have the very latest tech gadget, even if we don't even use the phone we have now to its full extent. For manufacturers, there's the pressure to revolutionize each time, and throw out what worked before simply because it's associated with an old product. Into all that arrives the Galaxy S9, managing to be both new and familiar at the same time. Something old, something new. Samsung hasn't reinvented what it didn't need to reinvent. The Galaxy S9 screen doesn't stray far from the S8's panel, a 5.8-inch Quad HD Plus Super AMOLED with an 18.5:9 aspect ratio, because that display was already one of the best out there. It covers a little more of the fascia, this time, the top and bottom bezels shrinking further, and still curves pleasingly around the sides of the phone. Now, though, the home screen supports landscape orientation. It's a small change, but does mean less flipping of the handset as you shift between landscape apps. Inside, too, the changes are evolutionary. The Snapdragon 845 is Qualcomm's latest, paired with 4 GB of RAM, and the 3000 mAh battery is the same size, too. In the S9, the Galaxy S9 Plus gets the same chipset but 6 GB of RAM and a 3500 mAh battery. As a result, there's no groundbreaking improvement in performance, but neither was that really necessary. Android 8.0 Oreo runs smooth and fast. Samsung still hasn't quite got the hang of timely software updates, so that Oreo works well out of the box is a good thing. Where its predecessor had rough edges, or frustrations, though, Samsung has removed them in the Galaxy S9. The fingerprint sensor on the rear is now underneath, rather than alongside the camera because, Samsung says, S8 owners told them loud and clear that that's how they'd prefer it. The 3.5mm headphone jack remains, but now Samsung has co-opted the earpiece so that the S9 speakers work in stereo. There's Dolby Atmos 3D surround sound support, too, if you have the media that offers it. Advertising again reinvented by Teads waterproofing and dustproofing remains, to IP68 levels. The Galaxy S9 still supports fast wireless charging on both the common standards, despite Apple's best efforts to crush all but Qi, along with fast wired charging. Samsung Pay, with its clever, and still unmatched, ability to mimic an old-school magnetic stripe card for greater compatibility is on board. The microSD slot has been upgraded to support the newest, and expensive, 400GB cards. If the 64 to 256GB of onboard storage isn't enough for you, it feels, therefore, like a somewhat fresher Galaxy S8. Again, that's no bad thing. There was nothing inherently wrong with the old phone. But it does mean that the improvements boil down to a few key areas. They're what I'm going to focus on in this review. Intelligent scan biometrics. If the annoying location of the fingerprint scanner on the Galaxy S8 proved too frustrating, Samsung offered both iris scanning and face recognition. Unfortunately, the former was criticized for its middling responsiveness in trickier lighting, while even Samsung admitted that the latter traded true security in favor of convenience and speed. The Galaxy S9 offers both, but adds another system which is a blend of the two. It's called Intelligent Scan, and it promises to combine the strength of iris scanning and the convenience of facial recognition. According to Samsung, it takes account of the surrounding conditions to figure out the optimal mode of authentication, and thus do better in low light settings. It's also been combined with better RGB and IR cameras. I used iris scanning on the Galaxy S8, and while it was fairly consistent in granting me access, it wasn't as fast as a fingerprint scan could be, assuming I found the rear sensor at first tap. In contrast, Intelligent Scan has definitely been quicker. I'm not confident in it being any safer, though. When you're unlocking your phone, for instance, Intelligent Scan first tries facial recognition and then attempts iris scanning if it isn't entirely sure. The result is an uptick of successful unlocks, but no greater security. Samsung even concedes that point itself, since you can't use Intelligent Scan in Samsung Pay. The Galaxy S9 may now be able to unlock from my face as speedily as the iPhone X's Face ID does. But I can't trust Intelligent Scan as much as I do the system Apple developed. Camera. One of Samsung's key obsessions with the Galaxy S9 has been on improving the camera performance, a move that's in keeping with the smartphone segment in general. On paper, it's still a 12-megapixel sensor with optical image stabilization on the back, and an 8-megapixel sensor on the front. The Galaxy S9 Plus, meanwhile, adds a complete second sensor, 12 megapixels with a 2x telephoto lens. The camera app itself has been updated, too, and you can now switch between modes by swiping across the screen. I did find that I could accidentally trigger that when I was trying to tap the shutter release button, or select a new focus and exposure point, however. Dual aperture camera. With the decline of the megapixel race in smartphone cameras, manufacturers have had